Hey guys, we are on day 6. We just left. Edmund had just made it into the wardrobe, through the fur coats, into the branches of the tree, feeling the snow. He was in Narnia and he was a little scared. He was calling out for Lucy. Lucy, Lucy, where are you, Lucy? And just as we finished up, he was standing there all alone, not liking being all alone. But he heard the sound of bells. Let's hear what it is. He looked around him and decided he did not much like this place, and he'd almost made up his mind to go home when he heard, very far off in the wood, a sound of bells. He listened, and the sound came nearer and nearer, and at last there swept into sight a sledge drawn by 2 reindeer. Okay, a sledge is like a sled, all right, like a big sleigh. The reindeer were about the size of Shetland ponies, and their hair was so white that even the snow hardly looked white compared to them. Their branching horns were gilded and shone like something on fire when the sunrise caught them. Wow! Their harness was of scarlet leather and covered with bells. That's where the bells came from. On the sledge, driving the reindeer, sat a fat dwarf who would have been about 3 feet high if he'd been standing. So a dwarf about this high, super white reindeer. He was dressed in polar bear's fur. And on his head he wore a red hood with a long gold tassel hanging down from the point. His huge beard covered his knees. Wow, all the way down to here. You guys drawn a picture of this? I sure hope you are. This is such a good thing to draw a picture of. And he served him instead of a rug, he had a beard. But behind him, on a much higher seat, in the middle of the sledge, sat a very different person, a great lady, taller than any other woman Edmund had ever seen. She was also covered in white fur up to her throat and held a long, straight golden wand in her hand and wore a gold crown on her head. Very proud, sitting up like this. She was covered in white and the gold crown on her head. Her face was white, not merely pale, but white like snow or paper or icing sugar, except for her red mouth. It was a beautiful face in other respects, but proud and cold and stern. The sledge was a fine sight as it came sweeping toward Edmund, with bells jingling and the dwarf cracking his whip and the snow flying up on each side of it. "Stop!" said the lady, and the dwarf pulled the reindeer up so sharp that they almost sat down. Could you imagine that? Pulling the reins, woo! Then they recovered themselves and stood champing their bits and blowing in the frosty air. The breath coming out of their nostrils looked like smoke. Woof! "And what, pray, are you?" said the lady, looking hard at Edmund. My name's Edmund," said Edmund rather awkwardly. He did not like the way she looked at him. The lady frowned. "Is that how you address a queen?" she asked, looking sterner than ever. Uh-oh. "I beg your pardon, your majesty, I didn't know," said Edmund. "Not know the Queen of Narnia?" "Ha! You shall know us better hereafter. But I repeat, what are you?" "Please, your majesty," said Edmund, "I don't know what you mean. I'm at school, at least I was. It's a holiday now." He was very confused. And here is how we're going to leave Edmund with the Queen of Narnia. I almost gave it away, didn't I? The Queen of Narnia. She looks very stern. What did Mr. Tumnus say about the Queen? Was she a good queen? I don't know. We're going to find out tomorrow. Tomorrow's one of my favorite chapters, and we're going to find out how the Queen and Edmund get along. Don't act like Edmund today, okay, guys? Act a lot more like Lucy. I don't want any Edmonds, well, this kind of Edmund, in our TVC kids. Don't be selfish. Be kind. Be respectful. Love your sisters and brothers. And have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.